Hi there guys, and welcome to something that is a first on this channel actually, where I'm actually going to be reviewing a video game. Something that I've wanted to do for quite a while, but I've never really felt up to it like it's something that I could do well. But with this game in particular, I've done some notes on it whilst playing it, and I think I could actually do a good job of it. So we're starting off with Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. A game that I imagine a lot of people have seen a lot about on the internet over the past kind of week, 2 weeks that it's been out. Quite a few YouTubers have been doing playthroughs of it. Some people have been streaming it a lot on Twitch, I know, and obviously it's been out there in sort of the reviews, all the kind of the gaming review websites and everything, IGN, GameSpot, Metacritic, stuff like that. And it's been getting people doing a lot of debating, a lot of discussing about it. Basically, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture is one of the sort of walking simulator games that everyone has kind of created that genre of. So kind of in the same league as The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Gone Home, Dear Esther, that kind of thing. But even within this genre, there's different ways of going about it. So in, like, you know, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and Gone Home, at least you as the player are kind of, you know, your key to the game in the game progressing and everything, in sort of working clues out and working the story out yourself and piecing things together. So there's that side of things, and then there's Dear Esther, where it's just mainly dialogue and you're just kind of there, and that's it really. So kind of before, originally I wasn't even going to buy this game, and I was just going to go off what other people had done, but because it was so kind of varied, I mean, the majority of people are loving this game, but then I saw people like Nerdcubed, who I always kind of respect and look to for opinions on games because I tend to agree with him. He was really hard on the game, and a few other people sort of brought up questions about it. So I thought, instead of kind of going off other people's reactions, I'm actually going to buy it myself, and I'm going to play through it. Going to try and play through it all in one go. Didn't quite work out like that because I started it at 10:15 on Friday evening. So I played for about 2-3 hours Friday evening, and then finished it yesterday morning. And for me, it's not a game. This is not a game. I'm going to press new game. Yes, I'm not bothered about the progress being lost. It just fails as a video game, and it is definitely in the genre along with Dear Esther, because you basically play no part in this game really progressing. And oh my god, there is so much wrong with this game, in my opinion. I know it's not going to be a popular opinion because everyone's absolutely loving this game and giving it... Well, I'll just tell you now before we get started. The Guardian has given it 4 out of 5. Metacritic have given it a 78 rating. GameSpot has given it 9 out of 10 and called it superb. IGN has given it 8.5 and called it great. Some of the words that have been used to describe Everybody's Gone to the Rapture: emotional, powerful, in-depth look into the real lives of people in a village in Shropshire, and a beautiful test of patience. That last one really got me. A beautiful test of patience. I like to think that I have quite a lot of patience, but this game just broke me completely, and we'll go into why. So we see there, it starts with Kate, who's got, I think it's called Catherine Collins, claiming that she's the only one left. So very early on, obviously with the name of the game, you know that it's to do with the Rapture, a whole kind of biblical thing where basically it's the end of the world and no one's left. And they could have done something so much better with this, I feel. You know, talking about something of this magnitude and everything, and they could have made it a real mystery kind of game where you're having to really solve things and everything like that. But it's just... there is so much for me to talk about. I'm not sure how this video is going to go, but I think we'll probably have to start out with the positives. And as you can see straight away with this, how bloody gorgeous is this game? I mean, that is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, I'm putting it down there now that this is probably one of the most gorgeous games that I've ever played. I mean, the graphics in it are just superb. You know, you do feel like you're in a little Shropshire village, and that is great. But yeah, the lighting in it at every point is just fantastic. I mean, light has a lot to do with this story. But yeah, the lighting's superb. And the second thing is the music. The music that it has playing throughout is fantastic. It suits it perfectly. It kind of goes along nicely, and at the beginning, when you're still feeling there's an air of mystery about it, and there's also a bit of a kind of a dark undertone, it does kind of creep you out a little bit, kind of the sound effects that they use in it, which I'll get onto in a minute. So yeah, the look of it, absolutely gorgeous. The music, fantastic. The dark undertones at the start do kind of keep you interested, but that only lasts for about sort of 20 minutes really. And it did actually, again, for about half an hour, kind of give me the creeps. Kind of the lonely aspect of it, of no one being around, kind of put together with some of the sound effects of it. It was a little bit creepy, sort of playing it on my own in the house when it was kind of dark and everything. I did feel a little bit creepy, but again, that did very, very, very soonly. It did very soonly. It did very quickly wear off, that effect. So, unfortunately for the game, those are all the positives that I have written down on my notes. So again, like I say, yeah, it is absolutely beautiful. The story starts over there, but before we get in, actually no, yeah, let's start the story. So you can hear those sound effects in the background, and that's what I mean by kind of the creepiness, the constant kind of beeping, and this woman reading out numbers kind of over the top of it and everything. It is really creepy to begin with, but then you just get used to it because they're just all over the place, these radios. So again, this is Kate talking. So yeah, Kate is basically the main part of this story. In fact, I'm going to point out now, I'm basically going to spoil the whole story. So if you do want to go out and play this game, then I suggest not watching this video or going beyond this point. But for those that aren't bothered, I'm going to spoil it all basically right now. So spoiler warning for anyone that wants to disappear. So basically, everyone is consumed by a light called the pattern, and it is because of Kate that this happens. Basically, her and her husband are studying the stars and patterns in the stars, and they try to they somehow bring this light pattern down to them, and it gets released. And basically, it's the two stories of Stephen trying to stop it, whilst Kate is trying to bring it to life and spread it across the village and, well, spread it across the world, basically. So, everyone dies. Big spoiler. Everyone's consumed by the light, and it is all Kate's fault. So, the person that you're constantly listening to throughout all this, you find out it's her fault. Now, the story fails on all levels for me. This is also something you can do. Interaction is very limited in this. You just basically get to press X on a few things, you get to open a few doors, press a few radios and TVs, and that is actually it. All you need to use is the left analog stick, the right analog stick, and the X button. That is all the controls are. So yeah, like I was saying, the story just completely fails for me because it's all in a wrong order. Basically, everything you see during this is all done in the wrong order, so you get very confused by it all, and you just don't know what's happening. There's so many characters that are introduced that you're not sure what's going on, and the way it's done is just, for me, it's just really messy. I felt myself not caring, and it's trying, for me, it's just trying to do too much. It doesn't focus on just one storyline because it's basically done in two parts. You've got the story of everyone in the village of Shropshire, and it's trying to bring a more human aspect to it in kind of introducing you to characters and seeing how their lives are going. And then there's the second story of basically Kate and Stephen and the light being consumed, consuming everyone over the village. And it's just too much. It's just too messy. It's just too scrambled up and messed up. And because like the story spreads from something happening months ago to what's happening on the night or the day of the Rapture, which by the way we are constantly stuck in. It is 7 minutes past 6 and this is it, we're just stuck in this time zone. And yeah, anyway, I will get into more of that. So yeah, at the start the X button keeps coming up telling you what you can interact with, but that soon disappears, so you just kind of have to go around and double check what you can interact with. So yeah, this is a story all about how my life got turned upside down. Yeah, it's done through radios and television and phone calls, and that's one way of figuring out the story, of seeing, you know, how things happen. The other way the story is told is through this thing here, the orb, the glowing kind of navigational orb thing. It's meant to guide you around the map and round the place and guide you to kind of major story points. So we'll see here, it's by the gate, and every now and again it leaves these little orbs that then you've got to kind of set going by tilting the PlayStation controller, which, believe me, gets so frustrating and boring after a while. So when you've done that, it creates these ghost people, which are the people of the village, and this is how the story is told, through this. This is the story. Ignore the frame rate, because NerQ pointed this out, but whilst people are talking and you're in the middle of it, the PlayStation just cannot deal with it, and that's just shocking in itself. So this is how the story is told. So for me, I didn't feel any kind of integration with any of the characters, because you can't see them. You just can't see them. This is all you're looking at. This is the story. And for me, it just doesn't work. It just really does not work. And people will disagree with this, I know, but the voice acting in it just seems so forced and so fake that it's not like, you know, people have been saying, oh, you feel like you're really in the lives of this little village in Shropshire, and it's real people and real lives, and it just doesn't feel like it, because it all seems so scripted and so fake and so forced that you just don't feel kind of connected to them. You don't feel part of the story, for me anyway, like I say. So yeah, that's how the story is told, through radios, through telephones, and through that shitty system there. Again, a little lag spike there as it's saving. So yeah, the navigational orb does little things like that every now and again, where you basically have to interact to start the story with the tilting of the controller. But every now and again, it will just introduce people without you having to do that. So there's kind of two ways that it does it. So you'll see it there, and it goes off into the distance, and you're meant to kind of follow it, but it basically just fucks off whenever it wants to. It goes absolutely everywhere. Oh yeah, it's also done in this way. It kind of does the story of individual. I think there's about 5 stories of individual characters that it goes deep into throughout the game. Starting off with Jeremy the Vicar. I should point out at this point that the story itself, if it had been done like as maybe a TV show or an audio book or a radio play or something, might actually have worked. You know, if everything was in order and everything, it would have made, you know, a half decent story. But done in this way, you just get so lost and confused in it all, and it's just bollocks. It really is. I'm usually quite good at wanting to get into a game. Well, like I say, I use the term game loosely on this. I love getting into stories. You know, I love seeing characters progress and stuff like that. But with this, it's impossible. You don't see character progression because you don't know at what point in the story you are. I mean, this point that they're talking about now is sort of like halfway, like in the middle of everything happening, but you just don't know. I mean, it just annoys me. It annoys me more than anything, because it had the potential to be something so good, and unfortunately, as beautiful as the game is and the graphics and everything, it's just not enough for me to really care about the game. And that brings me on to the next point. You'll have noticed that I've not travelled very far, but it's taken me about 10 minutes to do this, because this is the speed that you have to explore this gaming, explore the world at this speed. Now, at first, when I started playing this, I was doing it in all of this. I heard that there was a run button, but if you look at the settings and look at the controller settings, you'll see there, as I've already pointed out, keep moving with the left analog stick, keep looking with the right analog stick, and explore, investigate, and interact with the X. Explore and investigate, yeah, those words shouldn't be there. And also at the bottom, take nothing for granted, be prepared to act. At no point do you have to do that. So yeah, at no point there does it mention a run button. So I spent all of Friday night and Saturday morning just walking around at this speed. Turns out that if you press and hold R2, it brings you up to a running speed and is a gradual increase. So let me just walk back here and prove that to you. So here we have walking speed, very slow. So I'm going to press down the R2 button as I start walking. There we go. This is apparently the running speed. And I'll let go and go back to walking speed. Yeah, that whoever we are at the moment is not going to make it into the Olympic 100-meter team. So yeah, this is my main bugbear with this game. It takes so well. I know why they've done it, because if you could walk any faster, you'd probably finish the game in about an hour. But having it this slow is just so mind-numbingly dull. Yes, mind-numbingly null. Mind-numbingly dull. It just, oh, it is so annoying. And again, the reason they've done it is so you can kind of explore the world and everything and do it at a nice slow pace. But as I say, the graphics just don't make up for that. It just doesn't make me want to explore the world. And there's nothing to explore either, because like I say, there's nothing you do in this that kind of makes any changes to the game. There's just nothing to it at all. You know, we couldn't beat... They could have released this as a game where you don't have to control it and it could go through it itself and it would make no difference. I mean, you can open different bits of the stories at whatever moment you choose to. Like, I could ignore the orb and I could go wandering around the whole map at this point and it would introduce different parts of the story, but it makes no difference to the story, if you know what I mean. It doesn't change how it all goes together, which is... It's really frustrating, because looking back on it, I've done some research afterwards, and there's actually certain bits that I missed, sort of the ending of characters, which I don't know whether we'll get time to go into now, but I basically missed the ending of about 2-3 characters, and that's mainly down to that fucker over there, the orb, because as I've already said, it just goes wherever it wants. It just completely fucks off. So if you are wanting to explore, which it tells you that you should do, and kind of, you know, tells you to engage with your surroundings and the environment and go off exploring. I really wish I hadn't have started this, because I really don't care about Kate and Stephen anymore. Yeah, if you do that, you have a chance of losing the orb, which if that does happen, you are completely fucked. And this can be a prime example of this was when I was playing a Friday night, and what finally caused me to turn the game off and go to bed. I practically got to the end point of the game, this little village area, which when it stops being so dark. Oh yeah, when you go into this mode, it goes into sort of night time and shows off the stars and the night sky, all nice and beautiful and everything. And then the frame rates really struggle to kind of bring it all back again. Yeah, I practically got to the end of the map, essentially, and to the very last story part. And it got to a part where I had taken my eye off the orb for 1 second and completely lost it. So I thought, oh well, I'll just take a stab in the dark and I'll go in, say, this direction. That was a big mistake. Because I interacted, 2 people appeared in front of me and were in a rush and talking about getting back to the observatory. So I thought, oh, obviously that's what I need to do next. The orb has disappeared and I need to wander all the way back to the observatory, which is where we started, up over yonder. So again, bearing in mind the walking speed of this, because I didn't realise the magnitude and the massive difference in the running speed at that point. So I had to walk from the end of the map all the way back through everything, all the way back to the start of the map, which took around 30 minutes, only to find out that that was not what I needed to do. All I needed to do was walk back into the village where the orb was hiding around the corner, and that would have continued the story. But because I didn't have a fucking clue where the orb had gone, I wasted half an hour walking all the way back there to the observatory to find that the gate was closed, and that was not how to progress the story. So if you lose the orb in this, you are fucked, and you have to resign yourself to the fact that you have to walk around at this speed trying to find where the little fucker has gone. Now, people may say that that's a fun little part of the exploration of it. I just call it a complete fuckfest. It just, oh my god, it got me so angry. So, back to the story. It is all kind of, well, you see from the start here, the stars at night. There's a massive clue there to what the whole, oh, nice popping in there in that window. Yeah, it's all kind of, there's a kind of alien aspect to this story. Like I say, they spot this light pattern in the sky and somehow bring it down to Earth. It's one of these games, it's one of these artsy fartsy games that everyone absolutely loves, but I personally can't stand. But it's one of these that's kind of open to interpretation, so I don't know whether there's necessarily a right or wrong kind of way to say what's happened in this story, but it's just completely open to your interpretation. But to me, it's this kind of light entity that comes down to Earth and kind of attaches itself to Kate, and Kate kind of, I don't know, the way she talks about it, she kind of feels sorry for it and falls in love with it and feels at one with it, and she helps spread it across the world, which ultimately, like I say, envelops everyone and kills everyone off. But also it's meant to have some kind of nice meaning to it. Anyway, I'll get onto that at the end. So yeah, from the very early on, again, another part where the story kind of fails, you basically find out at the very start of the story, by it being out of sync, you can kind of work out already what's going on. And it kind of paints it out to be this mysterious kind of game with a mystery aspect to it, and you don't really know what's going to happen. When really, I figured it out practically about 20 minutes in, you know, what was going to happen. I felt, oh, well, everyone's just going to get, you know, kind of attacked and sort of attached to this light, because you see everyone being ill. And that's how everyone's going to die. But early on I just thought it was both Stephen and Kate's kind of fault, and I kind of had that in mind, but I thought, you know, obviously the story's going to progress and there's going to be some major reveal at the end of it. I'm just going to tell you now, that reveal never comes. It just doesn't. The story just does not progress at all. So from what you gather from the start of the story, it just never really progresses from there, and there's just nothing to it, which is just fucking ridiculous. Also, curry in a pint for £2. I don't care what little village you're in. If there is a, oh, mind you, it is set in the 1980s, isn't it? So £2 probably is about right. Oh well, that's failed me on that one. So yeah, this is the local pub. As you can see, where there is a clock somewhere. I think there was a clock somewhere. Oh well. There was a clock somewhere that says that it's stuck at 7 minutes past 6. Also, local fish and chips. I'm not sure if anyone studied the geography of Shropshire. There's no coastline bordering Shropshire, and the nearest coastline seems to be quite a way away. So you're lying. You are lying, and I don't like liars. So let's head out the back here, and we'll probably set off some more of the story. I think around this corner, I think there's something you can do. And another thing that I'm just going to keep saying another thing that annoys me with this is with the way they do it, in the fact that it's all out of sync and everything, and not in order, is that you don't see any character progression, because from early on you already learn the character traits and the personality traits of the characters. so you already know their story before it kind of gets to the end. So, you know, Jeremy the vicar is sort of questioning his faith. He's not getting on with some of the parishioners because he's actually helped helped a terminally ill woman die by giving her more of her medication than he should have. There's a character called Lizzie who is basically having an affair with Stephen, who we met at the start, who is married to Kate, and she runs a youth hostel, a youth camp kind of thing, and there's things going on there. There's Wendy, who's Stephen's mum. She's kind of the busybody, nosy character of the village who doesn't really get on with the vicar. She's not getting on with her brother Frank, who is another character in it. He's the one who's lost his wife that Jeremy helped kill, and it's just you learn everything so early on that you just don't feel any connection to the character because there's no progression there. And I think I am mostly frustrated out of all of this, because it could have been so great, and it's just not. It's a beautiful game. It sounds brilliant. But my god, it's dull and boring. I mean, look how long it's taken me for... That's where we started over there. And this is the speed that you have to walk around the place. It's just... Oh, it's just so annoying. It really is so annoying. I think it's just... You know, it's not a video game. You know, that there's no challenge here. There's nothing for you to do. And it, you know, the orb just, like I say, it fucks off. And you get, well, I did anyway. I got so confused in the story because I was just going round, wandering around, and people were popping up in different places, and it's just, and I mean, like, some of it, I don't think, if people have played this game, there's probably half the stuff that they haven't seen. Because if you do just solely follow this orb throughout the whole map, you will miss so much. Like, there's a bit over at the village hall where, oh, it's deciding to come over this way this time. That's another thing it does. It'll go down a road and you'll follow it, and then it'll fuck off back in this direction, and that, it just wastes your time. It just completely wastes your time. And, you know, call it an exploration game, but, you know, you can't go into all the houses. The houses you can go into, you're only limited to certain rooms you can go in. And once you're in the house, all you're having to do is, like, turn the radio on or turn the TV on. And that's it. That's all you have to do. It's, yeah. Yeah, there's a bit at the village hall where you go around the back and there's a cellar. But the orb doesn't lead you there. And if I hadn't have just decided to walk around there for whatever reason, then I wouldn't have seen that bit. But it doesn't matter anyway because it makes no difference to the story. It's like it's just trying to get you involved in this village life and trying to see the real lives of people, but you just don't feel like when that's all you're seeing. And the voice acting's not the best. It's just, I don't care about these people. I actually find myself being annoyed with the majority of them. Like, Stephen's just really an annoying character throughout it all. So is Kate. She just comes across as an obnoxious American. Wendy just seems like a bloody nosy bint. The vicar just seems like a really weak personality kind of guy and with no strength. And just the other characters are just nothing. And it'll just randomly bring people in. Another thing it does... Sorry, I'm getting really angry with this. They always, in every single sentence, they seem to mention everyone's name. But because there's so many different characters and the amount of time that it does it, it doesn't help. It actually doesn't help with anything. Oh, yep, people just appearing again. Yep, that's whatever. Meg's been introduced. Don't know who the hell Meg is, but that's Meg. And that's what's annoying. It just introduces too many characters. And like characters you might only see once or twice. And then that's it. That's all about it. So you don't know. You're left feeling, are they a big part of the story? Do they have a massive thing to do with the end of it? Do I have to go investigate what they're doing? You just don't know. And like with this character of Jeremy the vicar, I don't actually see the ending of what happened to him. Even though apparently it is meant to happen in this church, and I went in the church and nothing happened. And it took me nearly 5 minutes to walk up these goddamn stairs just to find nothing. Ugh. I think I'm getting frustrated at how everyone seems to be loving it so much, yet I'm struggling to see why. Like, really struggling to see why. Did I go up this way before? I can't remember. Oh yeah, that's the village hall over there. In fact, yeah, let's not go that way. See, this thing, there's nothing for me to show you. Because you've seen the game mechanics. Everything you've seen so far in this video is all this game has to offer. In fact, one thing I will do, I'll go show you the map just to show you sort of how big it is and how far I had to walk back. There's also question marks about who we are. I mean, everyone sort of thought we were Kate, but then the artsy-fartsy people say, well, you're not anything. There's no, there's no real representation. You're just kind of exploring, and there's nothing there. But there clearly is a physical presence, because I can open doors and gates, which I imagine entities and things can't do. If you walk through those sheets there, you clearly have a presence because you're walking through it. So I don't know. It's just a pile of shite. And the ending, honestly, like I say, you get to the ending and you expect this massive reveal, and you expect to be maybe shocked at the end of it, and it be something that you weren't expecting. But no, it just finishes with the ghostly figure of Kate talking about how much she loves the light, and that everyone that's kind of been, enveloped by the light, everyone's been consumed by the light, but everyone's happier because of it, because they're back with the loved ones, and that she didn't have a loved one to be with, so she's just part of the light, and she's with the light. And then the credits roll, and that was it. And you can't skip the credits either. And once you get to the end of the credits, you get a trophy for getting to the end, which, yeah, that's a trophy I'm really proud of. So that's where we started, the Vallis Observatory there. We've walked into the village of Yorton there. You walk up through the forest where there's various other people that live there. You then walk past like a train yard and the train station and everything. You go to Appleton's farm where Frank lives, and that's a very vast open area. You then go to Lakeside, which is where the youth camp is, where Lizzie works and everything, which is really frustrating there as well, because you just walk around in circles and everything. And then you go up to Little Tipworth, right at the top there, which is where I got to. Like I told you, that's where I got to, and I was following the orb around. I got distracted for 1 minute, lost where the orb went, started walking in sort of back towards the farm direction, I think, but more in kind of that direction. And like I said, I saw Stephen and Frank having an argument. It kind of seemed like it was getting towards the end of the story, and sort of to the pinnacle and the height of it and everything. And because I couldn't see the orb, I just presumed, oh well, I clearly need to get back to the observatory, because that's where Kate is stuck, and that's obviously where the story's going to end. So I walked all the way back across all this road here, not being able to interact with anything, all the way back to get back to the observatory, and the gate was locked. Seriously, fuck this game. This game is, well, no, it's not a game. I refuse to call it a game. It just feels, it's just not a game. It is not a game. There's no skill to it. There's no challenge to it. All you're doing is walking around, looking at very beautiful graphics and listening to very nice music. But essentially, all you're doing is going around, seeing the ghosts of people, having to turn these radio. Hang on, where is the radio? Is it in here? Yeah, it's in here. And like I say, this sound effect, like when you're walking around at the start and you've got this lonely sort of atmosphere, and you hear that beeping and the static and the numbers being read out, it is a little bit creepy to begin with, and that was good. That felt good, because I thought, oh my god, there's actually going to be a mystery to this, and it is creepy, and there might be little scary bits in. But then after half an hour of just hearing it over and over again, and just getting rid of it and pressing it and listening to Kate whine on about the fucking pattern, oh god, I just started losing nowhere to live. So yeah, this is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. So much potential there, but ultimately you're led astray by an orb. You can get lost. You don't care about the characters that are in it. You don't really care about the story. You can get confused quite a lot by it, and you have to walk at 1 mile per hour. Like, this is it. This is the extent to this game that I think cost me £12. This just, yeah, it's not good, guys. It's really not good. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Like I say, leave your thoughts and comments on this game if you have played it below, or if you've seen sort of other videos of it and everything. Let me know your thoughts on it. Like I say, according to everyone else, I'm very much in the minority in not liking this game. Everyone seems to absolutely bloody love it. I just don't see it at all. So I'm gonna go in the doctor's surgery. Maybe he might be able to help me out with some meds or something, and just make this awful pain of this game go away. Dr. Wade, can you help?
Just send them to the village hall with the others, please, Bob.
Fuck you, Dr. Wade.
Scared. Mrs. Gable's just called me and said her husband...